Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Today's topic is values make us valuable. And why these values make us valuable, we're going to discuss that. We already have discussed 4 laws of the universe. And now I'm going to discuss 4 more laws of the universe. These laws are there. They're always working. They're always exerting on us. We know it. We don't know it. We believe in it. We don't believe in it. It does not matter. They exert constantly on us and they are working constantly. So it's better that we should know them. Once we understand, we know. Knowing is not even an issue. Issue is to understand deeply. The more you understand, the more you will follow. Any formula, any formula you understand deeply, you will start acting on it. So the whole purpose is so we can understand these laws and apply it in our daily life. The first law I'm going to discuss today is the law of compensation, the law of requital, the law of return. Action is equal to reaction. Kanune makafate amal. These are all the same thing. What goes around comes around. As you sow, so shall you reap. This is all the same thing. We have to understand. Whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get the same result. As Quran says, wa iz qala rabbukum aduni astajib lakum. What it means, when God says, ask me, mujhe pukaro, और मैं तुम्हारी पुकार का जवाब दूंगा. What it means is कि you follow my law and I will bring the result accordingly. So if you don't follow my law, I will not bring the result accordingly. So we have to understand it very, very clearly, because pukar becomes the first step and the foremost step of human. Because if human does not, what I say pukar is take action. The first step, if human does not take that, God can never bring result. He's waiting for our pukar. He's waiting for our actions. Human is an act. And if we don't perform act, he cannot bring the result. He can't. As Ghalib said beautifully, Tire kaza har aina dar tarkashe hakast. Tire kaza har aina dar tarkashe hakast. Ama kushadea zakamane Muhammad ast. Means ke खुदा के तीर जो हैं, जो उस हमारी डेस्टिनी के जो तीर हैं, वो उसके तरकश में पड़े होते हैं. वो उस वक्त तक नहीं चलते जब तक वो मोहम्मद की कमान में नहीं आते. मींस कि जब ह्यूमन वो एक्ट नहीं करता, वो डेस्टिनी उसकी वो खुदा नहीं देता जो उसने अपने पास रखी होती है. Now, let me explain this in a little different way, and I believe we can understand better. So there is another terminology, there is another word in the Quran. It says liqae Rabb. What liqae Rabb means? Liqa means amna samna. It's meeting each other. So it also means law of requital. कानून मकाफात अमल, अमल के नतायज का सामने आ जाना. ये अमल है, उसके नतायज का सामने आ जाना, ये सारी उसके मानी है. तो it's like action is equal to reaction. So liqae Rabb is action facing the reaction. So now, if you look at carefully, human is an action doer. Human is an action doer. Human is the initiator of any action or thought. Now, God's law are dependent on human action. If human does not perform action, he does not bring reaction. So it's you who's gonna initiate any thought, any action. He's sitting, he's relaxing. He only brings you the result if you act. So if I don't act, he's not gonna, his tir, his arrows are sitting in there. As Ghalib said, they are sitting there, they're bekar. It's up to us. How can we utilize them? Human becomes very powerful in that aspect. Again, very carefully, if your thoughts and actions are not predetermined, your thoughts and actions are not predetermined, but your results are predetermined, means God's already had made results for every thought and act. And that's where the issue is. As Iqbal says, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. Means you make him, when you perform an action, especially when you perform according to the Quran, we force him to bring the result according to what I did. So this is very, very, very crucial for us to understand that every power is in our hand. So now if you look at it, any action I'm going to perform, good or bad, God is not performing the action. So God cannot be bringing bad. No way he can bring bad. Because it's the action is we are performing. If I'm performing bad actions, he's bringing the result only according to your action. So it's if a bad is coming because I did something wrong. So this is how it works, and it works always, all the time, everywhere. So these laws are working constantly, and we know it or we don't know it. So we have to understand it. So, and we try to understand all our decisions and actions are not predetermined. So we have a choice, free choice. Whatever we decide, we can do it. Quran says, the moment believe in likai Rab, means he believes God's results according to my actions. So if I perform wrong actions, I'm gonna get bad results. So that's why Momin believes that on likai Rab means the mukafat amal par uska 100% yaqeen hona chahiye. Also in the Quran it says, one who wants likai Rab, if I want likai Rab, I have to act according to the Quran. Why we should believe on likai Rab? Because God fulfill his promises, and he says, وَخَلَقَ اللَّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بِالْحَقِّ. It's real. He created the heavens and the earth. In reality, they exist. وَلِتُجْزَى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَ. And whatever you will do, he will bring result accordingly. وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And he is not unjust. He will bring every result justly. So this is where, if he promised that, so then it's all up to you how we think and how we perform action. It's all up to us, and what kind of actions we should perform. And he has given the choice also. He said, you have the guidance, the Quran. If you perform according to the Quran, then you will get the best result. So I'll come to that, the difference between the law of requital or compensation and law of attraction. And there is a law of increase. And what's the difference between these two? Is law of requital or compensation and law of attraction seems similar, but there is a very basic difference in it, very subtle difference in it. So once you understand the law of requital, you realize how God and his creation, his universe, is so friendly to you. He says he's a Rafiq Allah. So how friendly they are, the reason why once you perform an action and you get the result, you feel empowered. You say, wow, I did this and this happened. That means he's not hindering anything. He's giving you everything, whatever you're asking, your pukar. So you start feeling, wow, they are very friendly. Whatever I do, he does it back to me. So this is where you realize there's so much out there. How much do you want to ask for? So that is the whole question. So if you start thinking that way, that whatever you want to ask, he will give it to you, not create a hindrance in any of your. And he also gave us tremendous amount of power. We don't understand who we are. If you look at Einstein's theory, he said the mass and energy are interchangeable. Means if you take 1 gram of matter, you can convert to 1 gram of energy. And if you take 1 gram of energy, you can take it into 1 gram of mass. Means there E is equal to mc square. So if you look at it, so according to E is equal to mc square, we have almost 90 billion joules of energy in us, in human. And we have 70 billion kilowatt hour energy in us. So this is all potential energy. Means this energy is a store of energy within us. It's not kinetic energy. You have to understand, it is potential. You have the potential to make it kinetic, to bring it in an action. If you don't bring it into action from that potential energy, it is going to be going in a different directions. So we are here to perform actions. Humans are here to perform actions, like the whole universe. So this energy is there. And there is also energy in the cosmos. So we attract whatever we want. So it's all we have to do is pukar. And that is the most crucial thing we can do. Even though we need to make this potential energy to kinetic energy, Iqbal stresses a lot on it. He says, Amal se zindagi banti hai. Amal se zindagi banti hai, jannat bhi, jahannam bhi. Ye khaki apni fitrat mein na jannat hai, na jahannam hai. Na nuri hai, na nari. Because this is human in his own nature. Neither he is a hell or a heaven. Whatever action you perform, you either want to develop heaven or you want to develop hell. It's all within you. The hell and heaven is within you. You have to develop it by your actions. So this is what Iqbal is trying to tell. Or how do we develop that? As I said, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. It means कि you develop your inner, higher mental faculties to such a level that whatever you want, you will get it. Whatever you think should happen, you start pondering on yourself. You start pondering on the universe with those faculties. And this is where you're going to develop that kind of level where even God has to be with you, because whatever you're doing is accordingly. So he has no other choice but to bring those kind of results. Even Quran says ke sanurihim ayatina fil afaqi wa fi anfusihim hatta yatabayyana lahum annahu al-haq. So we are the one, if we develop those faculties, we can look into ourselves and in the universe, and we make everything which is not even real in front of you, we can make reality. And it's exactly going to be like Quran. Inna annahul haq. So this is how we work, and we should. But why is not happening? That's the problem. As we know, Quran multiple places says, "Walakinna aksarahum la ya'lamun, walakinna aksarahum la yaqilun, walakinna aksarahum la yasharun." That majority do not have a knowledge. Majority do not utilize their brains, and majority do not utilize their consciousness. So even God has mentioned in the Quran, "Laqad khalaqnal insana fi ahsani taqweem." Ahsani taqweem. But we created human into is the highest form of creation. And what happens? Summa radadnahu asfala safilin. And this guy never uses his faculties, and he clings to the earth. Even the lowest earth means the lower part. He clings to the earth. Even he said on another place, he says, "Kad khaba man dasaha," means he even have a deep roots into the earth, going down further. So once you make deep roots into the earth, in the materialistic world, you think you can fly? No. As I mentioned that example, the eagle said you can't fly because your roots are deep into the earth. So that's why you didn't get the wings. If you want wings, you need to come out and at least above the earth. So summa radadnahu asfala safilin. This is the reason we are still stuck with this earth. So now if you look at, if we develop our faculties, our capacities, potentials to such a level, you can hold anything in your hand that you can see in your mind. This is where we should be. But the problem is we have a very hostile environment, not friendly, not cooperative. So what we want is a cooperative world, a cooperative environment. Then these things can happen. So our whole purpose is to collectively struggle to develop that society, that kind of a world, which Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam created within 23 years. And it's taking us 1500 years, and we're still figuring it out how to do it. The universe and God only give us what we ask for, and we should ask in the form of providing service. When you ask, it means you have to provide service, because we are a servant of God. We are a servant of the universe. In a way, means we perform something, we give service to, and that service gives us return. If you look at Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life, 23 years, he just gave his service. 23 years. And look what he gave us in return. So once we give service, this is what Pukar is also. It's not like it's selfishness. It's just we provide service. And once we provide service, we get benefit out of it. And other will get benefit. Somebody has to do it. So this is how our Pukar should be. So this is, in a nutshell, this is law of compensation. God compensates us according to our actions. This is the law of requital. This is the law of return. This is Qanun-e Makafat-e Amal. This is action is equal to reaction. In this one, if you carefully look at it, he's not saying you perform according to Quran or out of Quran. Whatever human will perform action will get result. So if you perform this much action, you will get this much result. So you're compensating, you're getting compensated exactly what you're performing. But sometimes you must have seen you did something, but you got way more than what you did. And you get surprised. I wasn't expecting this, but it happened. So what happened then? That's I'll talk about in law of increase. And that happens too. And I believe it. I have experienced those events, because when you do something which should not be, you're getting way too much the result. And then you realize what happened here. So I'll come to that in law of increase. The next law is law of attraction. Law of attraction is also the same, it's like attracts like. It's the law which is also working and exerting on us, even we don't, hum jane na jane, hum mane na mane is there. So we have to understand. But this law's basic foundation is vibration. It works through vibrations, human vibrations. So if law of requital is more your thoughts and actions. So if you put your finger, your finger burns, you see it. So that is the result. But this one that is more externally, this is more internally. The law of attraction works through vibrations. Electromagnetic waves goes through the cosmos and draw the result according to your vibration back to you. So that's how this is work. But it's more or less same thing. What you are thinking, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. So these things are more kind of metaphysical, means it goes through your electromagnetic waves, your vibration. You know, we say you got a good vibes, you got a bad vibrations. So you feel it in other people's. So those vibrations, nowadays, you could take actually, if you stand in front of infrared camera, you see those vibrations coming out of you. And I will explain how these vibrations you develop and where they go. So we live in an ocean of emotion. Everything is moving. Nothing is at rest. Movement is life. Rest is death. So we have to understand, nothing is at rest. Movement is life. Rest is death. So everything is moving constantly. So all these vibrations, electromagnetic waves, is constant movement everywhere. And our body has a tremendous amount of magnetic energy. And obviously, when you have energy, means energies basically itself creates magnetism. If you look at electricity itself creates magnetism. So it goes both ways. So we have around 70 billion kilowatt hour energy. So imagine how much magnet every material body has magnetic energy, like any planets or stars or whatever. So our law of attraction is because it works through vibrations. It likes attracts likes, like I said, and I believe Rumi said, what we seek seeking us. Means whatever we concentrate on, whatever we focus on is focusing us. So we have to understand, if you keep thinking, I'm poor, the poverty is focusing on you. So that's why poor stays poor and rich stays rich. So this is very, very crucial, how we think, how we have to change our thinking. Voltaire said, expect miracles. Why he's saying that? Expect miracles. What miracles means? Miracle means the known effect of unknown cause. Means you did something, the effect came in front of you, but you don't realize what was the cause. So that is, you get mind boggled. You say, oh, this is a mu'jiza. This is like a miracle happened. So basically, why we should expect miracles? Because this is what human is. Human wants higher and higher and higher and higher. He wants to, if he gets this much, then the next time he wants this much. So then we expect miracles. How miracles happens? The miracle happens through our mind. Our thoughts and our beliefs are the architect of our destiny. Our thoughts and our beliefs are the architect of our destiny. So whatever you want, you start thinking and believing that way. And this is how you get it. And everything starts within you. Nothing happens outside. Outside is the reflection of your deepest thoughts. So this outside is you create. As I said, you create time, but that's a different subject. But so outside is the creation of your inner most deeper thoughts. So this law actually has two facets. Law of attractions. It has first is that desire, that pukar. You see, I mentioned that pukar. That pukar is the first step. Like Iqbal says, "Lab pe aati hai dua ban ke tamanna meri," means that arzu, that tamanna, that aspiration, that supplication, that which brings a lot of emotions from the heart and comes to your lips. That's what pukar means. And that pukar is the first step. And then the second facet of this law is the result of that pukar, which is astajib lakum. Okay, I will answer your pukar. So that is the second part. So the most important thing is the pukar. To pukar, first we have to have that tamanna. फिर इकबाल का शेर आ जाता है मेरे ज़हन में. इकबाल says, आरज़ू अव्वल तो पैदा हो नहीं सकती. आरज़ू अव्वल तो पैदा हो नहीं सकती. हो अगर पैदा तो मर जाती है या रह जाती है खाम. This is a very, very, very scary share of Iqbal, which bothers me a lot, because we have the arzu to do something. I don't want to let it die, or at least stays like a raw. So we should act on it. The second thing is we should not try to change the bad. We should not, if you want to change, if you want to start thinking and changing yourself, do not start looking for bad things. Just start doing good things. Forget about bad. You can't change them. If you have a wrong world around you, unjust world, don't try to fix it. Don't try to be part of it and try to fix it. Oh, I'm going to change this democratic system, and I'm going to change the banking into Islamic banking. You cannot do that. You have to demolish either the whole structure, and if you can't do it, then you just start your own parallel. You start a new one. That's it. Start a beginning of a new one. And let them do whatever they're doing. Don't worry about them. If your system is going to be stronger than them, they will automatically follow that. Because this is exactly what in the Quran it says, Kul ya ayyuhal kafirun la abudu ma ta'budun. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. Let them do whatever they're doing. Let me do whatever I have to do. And the result will tell who's right. So the same way, you don't start changing your bad habits. No, you just start doing good. Forget about bad. If you can't change whatever you have done, don't worry about it. As I mentioned last time, forgive about it. Don't worry about it. Just start working on a innal hasanat yuzhibna sayyiat. That's the only law Quran has. You cannot undo anything what you have done. Try to do something better, good deeds. That will overcome gradually on your bad deeds. So this is the balance you're gonna see at the end. So now, how I have explained on multiple places, let me explain briefly how this law of attraction works within us. So what happened, you first come up with an intellectual idea, a thought, electromagnetic, metaphysical aspect of you. Then you repeat that thought. Once you repeat that, it becomes like it creates a little bit emotion in it. You have to understand, the thought is metaphysical, but when it gets to your brain, it converts into chemicals. The chemical goes into your bloodstream, which is your culture medium. That's how you culture your cells, you culture your citizens. That's how you develop a culture in the society. So you send that message in the blood to each of your cells who are your citizens, and they will follow your directions accordingly. And they take it, your pukar, and put it into their nucleus and make a messenger RNA. From messenger RNA, they make proteins. And the proteins are now physical. So now proteins create tremendous amount of vibrations. There's zillions of proteins because you have trillions of cells, your citizens, who are working on your thought, who are working on what you have sent the message. So that thought, which was electromagnetic, you convert into chemicals, then you convert into physical form. That created vibrations. These your initial malaikas who are working on your thought, and those malaika lantarauha, which you cannot see with your naked eyes because they are inside of you. But then the vibration goes into cosmos. The cosmic powers of God align with your own vibrations. If your vibration is bad, bad will draw back. If your vibration is good, it will draw good to you. So this is how this law of vibration works. So we have to be very careful. If we are thinking bad, if we are thinking bad about others, bad's gonna happen to you. So it's law of attraction, and it works through which you can't see, but it does happen. And we all experience it every day. So don't believe it or believe it. Don't know it or know it. Believe me, it's working, it's exerting, and it's happening. So just be conscious about it. And this is how we're gonna prevent bad things happen to us. All these bad things are happening is because what we are doing, as just I explained earlier. So basically, it has to be anything which you want. It has to be aligned with mind and heart. You first take the idea, intellectual idea or Quranic idea, and internalize it emotionally. Means your mind and heart should align. Your idea and your emotion should align. Like Iqbal said, khird ne keh bhi diya la ilaha to kya hasil. Khird ne keh bhi diya la ilaha to kya hasil. Dilo nigah Musalman nahi to kuch nahi. To kuch bhi nahi. So it means ke if you have just intellectually thinking or trying to do something, when we say mindset goals or heart set goals, mindset goals are not that powerful. Those goals, if any strong hurdles come in front of you, you give up. But mindset goals, those are your passions. Nothing can stop it. So that's why when you align your electromagnetic wave with your emotions, that's where you develop, it's called yaqeen muhkam, determined thought, determined decision. And that is the motivation actually. That is the driving force actually. As Iqbal said, khird ne keh bhi diya la ilaha to kya hasil, dilo nigah musalman nahi to kuch bhi nahi. So basically these electromagnetic waves, your thought, should align with your heart, with the emotions. And then that becomes the determined thought, yaqeen muhkam, your determined decision, and that becomes the motivational force for you, deciding force for you, for your actions. It pushes you to do actions, especially the perseverant, the persistent action, which eventually achieve the goal and your thought will become reality. And this is how the whole thing works. So now, so the law of requital and return is what you do, that's exactly what you get. Law of attraction works through your inner out. And now I'm going to, I believe, law of increase. And law of increase is actually based on, they say what I read is praise. It's the foundational principle of law of increase is praise. Whatever you want in this life, you have to praise it. Whatever. It could be health, wealth, love, whatever. You have to praise it. It's so interesting that I never put in that way. When I started reading about it, the gods, he started with Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. First thing he started with praise. So now why we get, you see, law of requital, you get what you do. You get compensated exactly. Now it's like you giving somebody $500 and he's going to return you $500. But sometimes you give $500 to someone and you get way more back. That's where this comes. But Quran says, La in shakartum, la azaidannakum, la in kafartum, inni azabi lashadid. Means if you follows my laws, you see the difference between here when it comes to shakartum, means if you following the guidance, the results will be amazing. Bharpur nataij jise kehta hai. If you follow my directions, I will bring to the highest results because you are using the highest laws, the ultimate laws. Obviously, the result will be ultimate. If you're taking smaller laws and using your actions, I'll give you whatever you did. But if you follow my laws, then la azaidannakum. फिर हम मुझसे भी ज्यादा देंगे. So this is where law of increase comes. And I was puzzled a lot of times that why this happens. I think when you show gratitude, when you show praise, when your intentions are highly humble, when you are doing something without any personal gains or vested interest, that's where it happens. When you're genuinely doing something good to others, then you get la azaidannakum. La in shakartum, la azaidannakum. But la in kafartum, but if you're hiding it, those laws, then inna azabi la shadid. तो खुदा कहता है कि मेरा अजाब फिर बहुत ही शदीद तरीन होता है. Which we are seeing nowadays. So this is how law of increase works in our law of requital. So the difference is very subtle. So the law of requital is what you do. Action is equal to reaction. Law of attraction works through same thing, but works through vibrations and draws back the results and brings things in front of you what you're looking for. Those kind of articles, those kind of videos, those kind of people you meet, and this is how you go towards your goal. And the law of increase is when you do something with gratitude, with praise. So whatever you want in life, you praise it. If you want wealth, health, love, you have to praise it. So we should not reluctant to ask for these things. We should actually ask for in abundance. बचपन में हमने सिखाया जाता है कि don't be so arrogant and ask for big things. Sure, we should ask for whatever we want. Ask for abundance of health, wealth, and love in this life. And God will give it to you. But you have to have that pukar. You have to have that aspiration that I want that in my life. I want wealth. I want health. I want love. I want this. So whatever you want, you'll get it. But you have to have that kind of pukar. Aduni astajib lakum. Aduni astajib lakum. So if you know that, you can do it, believe me. Because if you are dealing with, as I mentioned before, if we are dealing with infinity, there's infinite energy out there. If you are dealing with infinity, you cannot take more than your share. There's no concept of share in infinity. So you can ask anything. You can ask anything. So don't settle on little things. Ask miracles, as I said. This is how you see, whoever thought about flying in the air, that was a miracle. But it happened. Now we have a cell phones, miracle. We never thought about it. Once we thought about it, we have it. So it's all what you imagine, you create. So this is how we work, and we should do it. So we should praise loudly. We should praise God, His creation, everything, the flowers, the trees. Look at outside, beautiful, the clouds, the rain, the ocean, the rivers. Every natural aspect is so beautiful. That's why he says, say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Because for natural thing, actually praise comes automatically from your inside. But for others, we are reluctant. We are very stingy. We are very conjuice, including myself, I think. I think we have to, what I was thinking and realizing, either we were developed in a society, but I think we should appreciate the way we appreciate nature. We should appreciate. What happens when, if you look at in human psychology, the child which is developed through praising the child, you see that child will be very, very confident. And the child which didn't get praise, very insecure in himself. His self-esteem, self-worth is very low. The most important thing in this world is human self-worth. How much worth you think you have. That's how your self-worth and self-esteem is determined where you're gonna go. If you have a higher self-esteem, you will grow more. If you have a low self-esteem, you will stay lower. So first thing is by praising, we do that. By praising, we change our perception. And that is very, very important, how we change our perception. Let me explain how you can do that. I mean, I was thinking on myself too. How can we do that? If you want to praise, let's take an example of your wife. So if you want to praise your wife, you really have to utilize your higher faculties to find good in her. Listen carefully. If you are looking something good, you're going to praise something good, right? You don't praise bad things. So when you're looking something good in someone, you are utilizing your faculties. And when you're utilizing your faculties, in psychologically, you're looking good, eventually your perception's gonna become good, because you're always looking good for something in somebody. So once you look good, you're praising it. So now you're develop that habit of looking good in everyone. Start with your wife. So what happened when you start looking good? Obviously, we'll look most of the time bad. This is the paratha you made. That's not good. You put too much salt in it. So, but what good things they're doing, we're not appreciating, and the what bad thing is we are concentrating on that. This is where the problem starts. So I realize the most important thing is, if we start looking, if you want to praise somebody, definitely you have to look something good in it. Once you start looking good in it, you use your brain. And once you use your brain, you start developing that machinery, and then you start developing that habit. And then you start praising it. So what happens when you praise others? They start expanding. They start feeling good. And their self-worth, self-esteem goes higher. They feel somebody. And this is how, and they also think good about you because you're praising them. So it works both ways. So this is how we increase things. Instead of decreasing, we can increase, but doing one thing. So I think these things works, believe me, but we have to be conscious about it. Yes, it is going to be difficult in the beginning, but once you develop habit, then it's unconsciously is going to happen. A lot of people are good in it. A lot of people are not. Majority are not. So we have to start working in that direction. I think this is a very, very interesting concept. Even there is a ayat in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا آيَاتِنَا وَلِقَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ حَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ. So basically what it's saying is that those people who deny our verses, ayatina, and deny the result of their actions. Laqail akhira means the amal ka akhir. Amal ka akhir is the result, right? So the laqail akhira habitat amal. One who denied that, oh, I'm not gonna get that. I'll do the action. I'm gonna go rob the bank. I'm not gonna go to jail. He doesn't have a belief in that result of that action. Then what happened? Habitat amalu. His all amals gonna go wasted. So that's these things. If we go other way around, it's opposite. So that's not gonna happen. If we start praising other people, and that works. Praise works in basically in every life. Every life which is living. It could be plants, could be animals. You try it. Go to a flower and start praising it. They have done some experiments. Let me explain. In Japan, they have done experiment. What they did, they took a few glasses of water, And one glass, he put a flower in it, rose. The other glass, he yelled at it, cursed the glass with the water. And the third one, he praised it. He sang in front of that water. And that's how he did a couple of experiments. And then he looked at, under the electron microscopes, the crystals of that water. So he came up with amazing ideas that the one which he yelled at it was the worst haphazard crystals. The one he praised, it was very beautifully arranged. The flower one took the flower kind of, so it's like they understand probably. They when you praise it or when you yell at them. Even animals, they understand it. Even lion, people have in their bedroom, they're touching them, they're hugging them. You praise them, they don't do anything to you. So praise is increase your capacity, and you will get better return from praising it. So that's the law of praise, I believe. So what I understood. Now, the last law. The last law is law of obedience. This is actually very interesting. I made it a little bit difficult, but stay with me and try to focus, because I'm going to go back and forth. So I'm going to start with a statement which is very, very nasty. The more disobedient you develop in a society, the more freedom you get in that society. I talked to somebody and told him about this, and there was American, and he was like, what the hell you're talking about? You're telling me to be disobedient? I say, yes. If you are disobedient to law of the land, I'm not saying law of the universe, I'm not saying natural law, I'm saying if you are disobedient to law of land, man-made laws, you will get freedom. So when I explained to him, he agreed to me. I said, listen, when you were under British law and they start putting you on different stamp tax and the sugar tax. So what happened? There were a couple of people became disobedient. George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin. And then slowly, a lot of other people start joining them. The more disobedient start coming and joining them. So what happened? I said, you got freedom, right? So he was like, yeah, that's true. So I said, now we are all sheeples. We are all sheeples. We are all followers. We are obedient. And that's why they're controlling us. So we have to become disobedient again. If you want freedom, you have to be disobedient. Disobedient to the law of the man. This is the difference you have to keep in mind. You get ultimate freedom if you follow the laws of nature, laws of God, laws of Quran. But if you go disobey the law of land, if they're tyrant, then you get freedom, some freedom. So this is how it starts. So now let me start from the beginning, and I'm going to explain in a dramatic way in the voice of Iqbal. Iqbal says, and I ponder on it, and I came up with a nice, beautiful idea. So he says, "Ye gumbade meenai, ye aalame tanhai, मुझको तो डराती है इस दश्त की पहनाई। ये गुंबदे मीनाई, ये आलमे तन्हाई, मुझको तो डराती है इस दश्त की पहनाई। तू शाख से क्यों फूटा, मैं शाख से क्यों टूटा। तू शाख से क्यों फूटा, मैं शाख से क्यों टूटा। एक जज्बाए पैदाई, एक लज्जते यकताई." Now what happened here? Imagine I sometimes go crazy with the imagination of Iqbal. Think he's sitting in a desert. He's talking to a flower, which is called Lala, is a red flower in the desert. He's sitting in front of a flower and talking to him. He's telling him, this is Gumbad-e Minai. This the Gumbad, the blue Gumbad horizon of the space. It is so silent, खामोश, but working. आलम तन्हाई इस गुंबद के अंदर मुझको तो डराती है, तुझे क्यों नहीं डराती? तुझे क्यों ये तन्हाई नहीं डरा रही? मुझे क्यों डरा रही? That is a very, very deep question he asked the flower. So what he's saying is, you are in a comfortable zone. You are connected with your natural family. All are connected to you, the soil, the water, the rains, the clouds, the mountains, the stars, the sun, the moon, all are connected to you and favoring you. And that's your family. You are in nature. You're in comfortable zone. That's why you're not afraid of. There's no huzn, there's no khawf. If you are in harmony within your family. So why he's fearful? Why Iqbal is saying, I'm so fearful? You are not. He says, because I decided I was part of you. I was part of nature. When it started Big Bang, I became basic elements, atom. That was atom, basic elements of universe. That was physics. We were physics. We are physics. Then those elements start joining each other, making bigger molecules. We became chemistry. And then we came settled down on the earth in the presence of water and sun. And then we became nafse-wahda. We became biology. Life emerges. So that was Adam too. Then Adam traveled through all the plants and animals and everything he took inside of him. He traveled through mushrooms, he traveled through flowers, he traveled through crocodiles. He took all the receptors of everybody within himself. And then he came to this form, standing form on 2 feet. But he was not zikr ke kabal nahi tha us waqt. He was still part of nature. But he was moving in circle with the nature because nature moves in circle. Once he grew his mental faculties a little bit, he developed self-consciousness. He became aware of himself. And he said, no. I'm not going to move in circle because I'm not going anywhere if I'm moving. So what I have to do, I have to go on a Sirat-e-Mustaqim, travel on a straight path. So I could go somewhere higher than any other creation of God. So this is where he decided to cut himself. मैं शाख से क्यों टूटा एक लज्जते यकताई. I wanted to have that uniqueness. That's the reason I cut myself from the family of nature. That's where I became very fearful. Anything I saw bigger than me, I thought this is God. I surrendered myself. Everything I saw horrible, I surrendered myself. I was so weak, I didn't have any tools. Then I started thinking, and then I'm growing, and I came to this level. But I'm still fearful. You are not. You're part of the family. Because when you leave your family, when you leave your comfort zone, you are in fearful. When I left Pakistan, I remember I was 18. I had to make every damn decision. I was so fearful. I didn't have anybody to discuss. But what happened when you're in uncomfortable zone, that's where creation happens. That's where you create. If I push you into a water and you don't know swimming, and then that's how you're going to start swimming for survival, right? So this is what happened to Adam. When he cut himself, then he realized he's vulnerable because he doesn't have a family. That's where he started growing. And that's good. That's good. That's where the story of Adam started. If he didn't do it, we'd still be moving in circle in nature. So good thing he did. He disobeyed. He disobeyed. He disobeyed natural law in the beginning. And he said, I will do something myself. So now, if he wants wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun, he has to go back to obedience of those laws. He did some experiment. He first disobeyed those laws, and then he realizing now, then the more he obeys the natural laws, the more freedom he gets. So this is how we are heading towards that direction. So we realizing, okay, we disobeyed. I mean, he disobeyed the reason why he didn't like to move in a circle. So that was a big decision for him. Same way, when you make such decisions, drastic decisions in your life, that's where you grow. Believe me, I have my personal experience. The only way you grow when you make a drastic decision in life and you leave. That's why migration is one of the reasons you grow. So you leave. So what happened is, this is what he did, Adam. And then with the experience, trial and error, he realizing the more, because what happened? Who grabbed the forces, and they start making laws on him, and he became slave. Now he realizing, I'd rather stay with the natural law than these laws. These are making me slave. So now he realizing, so if you look at all the leaders, all the revolutionists, they always against the land laws, man-made laws, but they never against natural laws. Why they were winning those tyrants or those oppressors? Because they were following the natural laws, but they were disobeying the land laws. That was the reason they were winning. That was the reason they were winning, because they were following strictly the natural laws, God's laws, and they were going against the man's laws. We have recent examples. I don't know, a lot of people don't believe it, but so what I'm saying is, this is how we work, and we are heading in that direction where we're gonna eventually realize that we're gonna be better if we obey the natural laws, the Quranic laws. We will get more freedom. And Quran again and again says, you are abd. Try to be abd. Don't try to be Adam or even Insan or Muslim. Try to be abd. Then when you are, because if we are abd of nature, we are obedient servant of God and nature, then things gonna change. So this is where we're gonna head eventually, realizing that we have to provide service. Every human have to provide service, and that service is our pukar. And then we get the amazing result that we will have never seen before. We have seen in certain period of times, Innal lazina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Those are the periods we had. So how we gonna do these? To understand through knowledge these laws, the universal laws as well as Quranic laws. The less we understand, if we don't understand, we are doomed. If we less understand, we're gonna follow less. If we more understand more, we're gonna follow more closely. And if we deeply understand something, you are constantly going to follow those. So it's all our perception and knowledge and depth of the laws. The more we understand, believe me, it automatically becomes part of you. But if you partially understand it, sometimes you can apply, sometimes you can't. So these are the things that these laws, they're, remember, they're definitely working, exerting on us. We know it, we don't know it, we believe it, we don't believe it, they're working on us. So it's better that we should know them and we should believe in them, and then we will make part of our life. So I think these 4 laws today we discussed, we can in question answer get more insight if we want. So I'll finish at this point. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim. Thank you very much